What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Timothy, back on an episode of Kush and Beans. Man, I know y'all seen the thumbnail, and it's been a long time of waiting. We're going to be doing our super soil blend today. All right, so we got a couple things we're going to be working on. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be doing enough super soil blend to fill 14 5-gallon pots. So the first thing we want to do, put a tarp down. Okay, that's the first thing we want to do. Okay, we're gonna go over our ingredients. Everything you see is everything we're gonna be using. All right. Number one. All right. Before we begin, make sure you drop a like, comment, subscribe. Man, help me out. Tell me what you think about the super soil. All right. After we do the super soil grow, we'll check on our girls. We did start flowering yesterday, so we'll check on our girls, see what they're doing, do a light defoliating, and go from there. Okay. Number one, we're gonna be using Pro Mix HP. We're gonna be using that whole thing of Pro Mix HP. I can tell you this: everything here cost me $200. When I went to my local hydroponic, they told me it would cost me $351 to fill my 5-gallon pots if I was to buy their stuff. So we're gonna be using Pro Mix HP. This whole thing right here. Next thing we're gonna be using is Black Cow. All right, Black Cow. We have 4 bags of Black Cow that we're gonna be using. Okay, and then the next thing we're gonna be using is pure worm casting. This is a fresh bag. We're going to be using all of it. Pure worm casting, we're going to be using that. And then we're going to also be using perlite. All right, so we're going to be using perlite. This right here is some perlite. We're going to be mixing some perlite in there. It's the coarse type. Okay. And then we're going to supplement it with Dolomite lime. That's what we're going to be supplementing it with. Dolomite lime. Okay. And we're also going to be using, oh, damn. We're also going to be using coconut coir is what we're going to be using. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the coconut coir in there. We're going to fill it up with water, let this expand. Okay. You guys probably wondering, well, Timothy, well, how you going to, balance the soil out? What you going to feed the soil? How you going to know if it's, ready to grow? Keep in mind, my soil, if you can literally use my soil from veg all the way down and it wouldn't matter, right? You could not put no amendments in it and it will grow from veg. Now, I personally, I do use down to earth dry amendments throughout my grow, but the way that this soil mix is made, you could literally use it without no amendments or liquid nutrients. Now, to blend by soil, we're going to be using, boom, Craft Blend 352. This alone has 15 ingredients in here. And the reason I decided to do this is because this saves money. Instead of buying all of this stuff one by one, this saves money. This is a 10-pound bag. We're going to be using 5 pounds of it. That's what's going to go in the soil, okay? And also this is a 10-pound bag. We're going to be using half of it. So, again, full thing of Pro Mix HP, 1 brick of Coco coir, 4 bags of Black Cow, 1 full bags of worm cast, and we'll do about half of perlite to keep it light and airy. And that's the ingredients to our super soil. So the first thing I'm gonna do is, like I said, I'm gonna start soaking this. All right, give me a second. I'll get you guys a nice position so you guys can see this soak. All right, give me a second. All right, so as you guys can see, you guys are looking into the dome that the Coco coir is gonna be going into. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna unbox our Coco coir, like so. We'll throw it in here. All right, and then the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna hydrate it. Now, I don't know if you guys remember when I do my compost tea, I use water from my fish tank, so that also helps a lot. So we're gonna fill this up with water. We're gonna hydrate this, and this is gonna expand to like 3 times the amount. Now, I do recommend you try to do this close by to wherever you're gonna start prepping your soil, because once this thing expands, this shit get heavy as hell. You understand? This shit get heavier as hell once it expands. So, all right, we're gonna let this expand like so. So while the coco coir is expanding, we're gonna put everything on the ground. We're gonna start with the warm casting. That's 1 bag of warm casting. Okay. The next thing we're gonna add next to the mix is gonna be our black cow. That's what's gonna be next in the mix. Is our black cow. Remember, we have 4 bags of black cow that's gonna go into this mix. All right, so 4 bags. For those of you guys who don't know, black cow is basically manure for real, for real. You know, it's cow poop, right? That's what black cow is. And warm casting is literally warm poop. Now, when I did get the black cow, I did put it in a bin because this will leak. So if you ever work with black cow, just remember it leaks. All right. Now, we got our black cow right here. All right, so far in the mix, we've got black cow, we've got warm casting. That's what we got so far in the mix. Okay, we're still waiting for our cocoa break to hydrate. All right, next, we're gonna add this Pro Mix HP. Now, out of this whole thing, this Pro Mix HP was the most expensive. Okay, so I believe the Pro Mix cost me shipped $100, and that's just the Pro Mix. Is what it cost me shipped $100. Right? I did find it cheaper. I found it way cheaper. But then here's how I can get you. When they actually ship it, like you get the Pro Mix itself for like $40. But then when you ship it, it's like $60 shipping. So then it end up being like $100. The only way I was gonna get this cheaper is if I would have went to this place that's like 3 hours from my house, drive up there and pick it up myself, and I just wasn't doing that. So Pro Mix HP. All right, so that's how that looks. So in this mix, oh shit. In this mix, you got warm casting, Pro Mix HP, black cow. That's what you got so far, okay? Now, I recommend doing this in a tarp. The reason I recommend doing this in a tarp, as you can see, this is a large amount of soil. It will make a mess everywhere. So you want to do it in a tarp. And what it does is, it's a lot easier to mix in a tarp, okay? A lot easier. So we're gonna wait for the coco coir to hydrate. Once that hydrate, we'll add it to the mix. In the meantime, I'm gonna mix up this soil a little bit in the meantime. I'm gonna mix everything together a little bit. The easiest way to do it is to pull the corner of your tarp up, mix, flip, until it's done. Give me a second and I'm gonna do that real quick. All right, so as you guys can see, you mix the soil in. I mix everything in. I did add about a third of the bag of the perlite also. And the next step you want to do is you want to make sure it's moist as you mixed in. All right, you want to get rid of all dry clumps. Mix everything into one. And we're just going to keep mixing. All right, we're going to keep mixing. When it comes to the water, you want to put a little bit at a time as you mix. Okay, so you just keep going and going and going. Make sure everything is mixed thoroughly. Make sure there's no pockets of worm casting, no pockets of black cow, no pockets of pro mix. All right, you keep turning, mixing. All right. Now, I do recommend that you get in here with your hand instead of a shovel. I believe adults don't play in the dirt enough. That's why they're so stuck up. So get in here and mix. All right, give us a second. We'll be right back with you. All right, so we got this partially mixed. Now we're going to be adding half of the Dolomite lime in here. And then again, we're going to mix it thoroughly. We're still waiting for the Coco coir to soften and double in size. Now, I know there's going to be somebody in the comment description that'll be like, well, shouldn't you be measuring this? Listen, it's just like cooking. You keep going till your ancestors tell you to stop, brother. That's just like that. All right? All right, so that's about as much as that's left in the Dolomite lime. It's about half a bag left. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add this craft blend. We're going to add this craft blend in here, okay? Give me a second. Let me prep that. I'm going to show you how that look like. So we're going to be adding our craft blend. Remember, it's got 15 ingredients. This is a 10-pound bag. We're going to be doing about half of it, all right, all over the soil, and then we'll mix it in. All right, give me a second. I'll be back after I mix it in. All right, so far, we've been at this for about 30 minutes. This is about 75% mix. In that meantime, this is how our coco coir look. All right, so it done broke down. It's soft. You guys can see it's broken down. It's soft. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this coco coir. I'm going to add it in here. I'm going to mix it one more time. Then after that, we're going to start splitting them into the 5-gallon bags. All right, so give me a second and let me do that right quick and I'll show you guys what it looked like afterward. All right, so this is how we're looking. This is how we're looking. Everything is mixed in here. I think it looks pretty good, pretty mixed. Probably gonna turn it around a couple more times. And now we're about to start filling up our pots. Now look, here's the key to this soil, okay? You gotta let this shit cook. You gotta let this shit cook for at least 2 weeks, right? So we're gonna fill up the pots. After I fill up the pots, I'm gonna put some water, I'm gonna water it. And then after that, I'm gonna throw it in the tent. I'm gonna throw it in this tent right here and then let it go for a little bit. So we gotta let the soil cook. You gotta let it cook for at least 2 weeks. Don't rush this. All right, we're gonna start filling up the pots, and then afterward we'll check on our girls. And that'll be the end of this week's episode. All right, stay tuned. All right, so we are done with mixing our super soil. So as you guys can see, everything's in pots now. I got all of these filled with soil. I had enough soil for all of that. And I also have these 2 bins right here filled with soil. So for future grows, I have soil. We'll just lightly recommend other soils. So we have soil in here, soil in there. Now, you guys can see the floor. This is the aftermath of the floor. That's why it's important to have a tarp. Okay, and this is with a tarp. So imagine if I didn't have a tarp, it would have looked a mess. But that's how the soil look. Now, let's check on our girls real quick. So, check on our girls. Now, we did flip these babies into flower. All right, we did do that. Keep in mind, they about to go through this little stretch phase. Okay, so I'm gonna let them go through this stretch phase. I'm gonna just keep tucking them because they are gonna double in size. I'm gonna do some light defoliating in here. Get rid of some of these fan leaves so that way lights can get to the bottom as they stretch. But that's how we look so far. That's how the girls look. All right. as always, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, staying tuned with me. I appreciate all the like, love, and support. So, as you guys can see, we did some light defoliating. We got rid of all the big leaves. All right, we did that. What we're gonna do is, all right, if you guys didn't know, I amend my soil after every 30 days. Okay, since we just flipped this flour, we're gonna put in there a quarter cup of vegetable garden 444, quarter cup of worm casting, and then a quarter cup of 484. So I'm supplementing this 484. So instead of doing the bone meal, I'm doing this 484 instead. We're gonna put that on top, quarter cup of each. And as always, if you guys remembered, when you amend your soil, it's not readily available, which means you gotta what? Water from the top. So the next few feedings, we're gonna be watering from the top. All right, I've also removed the plant stakes because I know they're gonna stretch. But that's it, man. That's all I gotta share with y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the episode. If you guys have any questions, comments, or any suggestions, please drop them down below. As always, if you fuck with the content, drop a like, comment, subscribe. You know, join the Demmit gang, join the Demmit family, join the Kush and Bean family. Other than that, man, this your boy Himothy on Kush and Beans, letting y'all know, stay lit, stay growing, man. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.